Okay, so like I said, my name is Angie, and I am the new youth lifestyle coach here at Tribal Health. Today we are going to be talking about compost, and I'm going to show you how to make your own compost bin. So I have already made one at home so that you guys can see it. I don't know how the lighting is, but here is my compost. We're going to make one together today. So we're going to go over some of our Zoom expectations. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, so today is our youth garden compost class. The ways that we can make our Zoom class run smoothly is that we're going to stay muted until I ask you questions or I give you permission to unmute yourself. And that's just so that we don't have a lot of background noise and then everybody can hear what's going on. If you have a question or comment, you can save it until the end, or you can type it into the chat box. And the chat box is at the very bottom of your screen, and it says, oh, I get to see Raylene.
You tap on it.
Okay, well, hello, welcome. Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh, hello. I don't know how to put their face on here, so.
Oh, hold on one second. I can't hear you as well out here. Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you, but I don't know how to do the camera for the kids. I have two here. This is Raylene talking, so.
Where's my volume button? Okay, so we're doing okay, Raylene? Thumbs up. I see a little one in the background. That's okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, so again, if you have any questions, at the bottom, you can type it into the chat box or I will answer them at the end. And then of course, we're just gonna be respectful and kind to anybody who's joined the class, which I'm not worried about, but we have to throw that one in there just in case. Okay?
Alrighty.
So we wanna make sure that our volume is up. I have a quick composting video for you to watch. It's about 5 minutes, but it gives you all the ins and outs about why it's important to compost and what it looks like. Okay, so just go ahead and enjoy this 5-minute video.
I just want to make sure Darren gets extra credit in PE now. She's recording it so she can hear it.
Do you remember when we were talking about recycling and how we can turn things like old paper, metal, or plastic into new things? Well, did you know that we can also recycle plants? It's true, and you do it by turning stuff like dead leaves, apple cores, and kitchen scraps into compost. Compost is a special kind of dirt that you can make by setting aside certain kinds of trash and letting it rot. It might seem kind of yucky to keep a bunch of old banana peels and dead leaves around, but this waste will eventually turn to compost, which you can use in your garden to grow flowers or vegetables or anything you want. So how do we get from what we might consider trash to yummy vegetables? Have you ever been out on a walk and seen an apple core that someone dropped on the ground? After a while, it gets all brown and bushy and kind of slimy, and eventually it seems to sort of disappear. But it doesn't just go away. It decomposes. When something decomposes, it breaks down into teeny tiny pieces, and decomposing is helped along by a group of living things called decomposers. That's a pretty great name because decomposers get their energy by breaking down things that were once alive. That apple core, it was once part of an apple tree, and that bread crust from your sandwich, it was made from ground up parts of the wheat plant. Decomposers use these bits of once living things as their own food. They basically eat our garbage. Decomposers include things like mushrooms that grow in rotting logs and insects and worms that eat the scraps that come from that sandwich that you didn't finish. They even include tiny living things too small for us to see. These guys might sound like they have a pretty gross job, but it's a really important one because decomposers turn those leftover parts of living things into compost. And compost is important because it's full of nutrients. Your body uses nutrients from the food you eat to build a healthy body. And plants need nutrients too. They use nutrients to grow taller and maybe sprout some flowers and make all of the plant foods that we eat as fruits and vegetables. So without decomposers, plants wouldn't be able to get the nutrients that they need. Now, let's see if we can put some decomposers to work to make some compost. Many people who make compost have a big bin in their yard somewhere. But if you don't have a yard, you can still make compost in a small container, like a special compost bucket or even an empty soda bottle. No matter what you use, to get good compost, you need to follow a kind of a recipe, just like cooks do in the kitchen. Let's start by looking at our bin. The bin can be made of metal, wood, or plastic, but it should have holes in it so that air can get in and out. Air is an important ingredient in making good compost because many decomposers, like insects and worms, need air to breathe, just like you and I do. Next, we need our waste, and we should group it into two main colors. That's right, colors. The waste you use to compost is generally either green or brown. Green waste includes things like kitchen scraps, but we can't use all of the stuff that we throw out in the kitchen. Meat and cheese, for example, can attract animals that might dig through our compost. So stick to fruit and veggie scraps, which is what we call the green stuff. Brown waste is usually, you guessed it, brown. This kind of waste includes dead leaves, straw, and sawdust. We need about 2 times as much brown waste as green waste. Put the green and brown waste into your bin in layers and add some water to make it moist. Now all we need are our decomposers. If your bin is outside, you can just wait. Decomposers like insects and worms will move right in and start munching on your waste. If you're composting inside, you can add some earthworms to your compost bin, or even find special redworms that are really good at making compost. Oh, and I almost forgot. We need patience because composting takes time. Depending on how big your bin is, it can take months for decomposers to do their jobs and break down all of the waste. If you want to help them out a little bit, give your compost pile a little stir or turn it over with a shovel. And while you're waiting, you can do some observing. If you watch your compost pile over time, you'll see some pretty cool things. You might see some mushrooms start to grow on it, and you should see a whole lot of different insects and worms. If they're doing their job well, and if you've done a good job adding your ingredients, the compost won't even smell bad. Once the wait is over and your compost is ready, it'll look like dirt. But compost is more than just plain old dirt because it's packed full of nutrients that the waste still had inside of it. So in a way, compost is a way you can recycle plants into new plants. It lets you turn garbage into greenery. Thanks for joining us on SciShow Kids, and special thanks to our friend Elliot from Portland, Oregon, who gave us the idea for this video. Do you have a question for us? Let us know in the comments below or email us at kids@thescishow.com, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, so that was I really like that video. It explains exactly why we compost and how we can compost. I really like her description of how compost is different than dirt because it's full of nutrients. And if you think about why you're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables, it's because you need to give your body the nutrients, the power, the fuel it needs to grow healthy and strong. And so the same thing with our dirt. When we want to make our dirt to grow our fruits and vegetables or our flowers, we want to make sure that we give it the right nutrients, and that's why we compost. So looking at this next slide, this is your opportunity, if you want, to unmute and gives me something that's green that we can compost. And I'm going to type it into our, type it in as you say it. Oh, no, back. So go ahead, if you think of anything, you can go ahead and tell me, and I'm going to write it in right here. Anything green, anything that you had maybe for dinner last night, breakfast today. Oh, I'm mute. No, I'm not. All right. I know sometimes we can be shy. I'm going to go ahead and just throw some out there. Oh, it says view only. Darn it. Okay, I fibbed. This one does not let me do it, but I'm just gonna throw out some things. We could do carrots, we can do broccoli, we have eggplant, we can even do plant trimmings. So I'll show you later. We have some beautiful sunflowers in the back. Those all are things that we can compost that are green. And those are nitrogen rich foods. That's just a really big fancy way of saying nutrients that your dirt needs. And then we have brown, something brown that we can compost. Anybody want to share some ideas on brown things? That's totally okay.
Marina.
Oh, hi, who's that?
Darren.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
Good.
Good. Let's hear some ideas. What could we compost that's brown?
Potatoes.
Potatoes. Okay, yes, potatoes are brown, but I'm going to put them in the green category because they were once alive. That's a good actually. Well, we're going to put them in both. But I think that's more of a fruit or a vegetable, so we can put it in the green category. I'm thinking more like leaves.
On the Zoom call with Darren's
So we have leaves, pine needles, paper, even newspaper are brown, cardboard, things like that. We can even use sticks or wood chips. Okay, so we're gonna get to the good stuff right now. We're gonna make a compost bin. The supplies that you need are going to be any clear container. So I have suggestions as a 2-liter bottle, a Tupperware dish, even a Ziploc bag will work. We do need a little bit of dirt, some green and brown waste, and some water. Okay, let me speaker view this. Okay. So I'm sorry it's kind of dark out here, but I do want to show you the compost bin that my child already made. Okay, this was an old pretzel box. We had pretzels in there and we just took off the lid and there was no cutting involved. You can use anything. The one that I'm going to use today is a milk jug. Because I'm a grown-up, I cut the top off. So if you are not with a grown-up or if you don't have a grown-up's permission, I don't want you cutting the top off of anything, but you can ask them to do it. So that's what you need. Can't see. Oh no. Thank you for letting me know that you can't see.
Is that what you guys all called her? What did you call her?
So you can't see the video. You can't see me at all.
No, you don't.
No way I gotta take
Pull it up.
my 50-year anniversary with no ticks is gone.
Okay. Oh no. Well, you're gonna have to see me. Let's see if I can troubleshoot really quick.
I don't think it's good. What is it?
Y'all hide me some bread.
Can you see it? Let me go see. Gotta talk to her.
Okay. Is it any better? Can others see it? That's a really good question. Raylene, Virginia, can you guys see? Virginia, maybe just give me a thumbs up if you can see me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see me. Darren?
Yeah, but it's like kind of dark.
Okay, so I'm not sure. It is dark, bad lighting. Next time we'll do it in a better spot. I just thought the garden would be appropriate. Maybe if I stand up, it's a little bit better. Okay, so Jennifer, I'm not quite sure how to fix the problem. I am going to be recording this and putting it on our YouTube page. So if you do want to just listen, and then we can, you can watch it on our YouTube channel.
Angie,
Okay, so we're gonna, I'm sorry?
it's Virginia. I can
Oh, hi.
see you, but yeah, it was just a little dark.
Okay, but you can see me?
Yeah, I can see like, yeah,
Okay.
just not well in the
Okay.
shade.
We will definitely work on that next class. Thank you. Okay, so like I said, I showed you my finished project. I'm gonna show you all the materials that I've collected. We have our milk jug. Like I said, any plastic container, even a Ziploc bag would work. I have a spoon, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with that later. Please don't use just any spoon. Make sure your parents, guardian give you permission for the spoon you're gonna use. We have greens, and in there I have grapes that were going bad in my refrigerator. I have peels, orange peels, and some Brussels sprouts that also did not get cooked in time. So we have lots of greens in there. And then we have our browns, which is just leaves from my backyard. We have some wood chips in there as well. And then I have water. You don't need a fancy spray bottle of water. You can just get a cup and pour the water onto it if you need to. Okay, so you can do this, like I said, you could do this project with me, or it's easy enough to just watch and kind of take in and then do it whenever you have permission. So it's really, really simple. You're just gonna layer it like a lasagna. I like to put the brown in first. Just maybe a couple handfuls. Some of the greens. I'm gonna put the water in it. I'm not gonna drown it. I just want it to be a little moist. And then layer again. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. As you can see, it's not full. I can keep adding to this if I want to, or I can just leave it just like this. One thing that I did not tell you to have today was a tack or some way to poke holes into your container. I do want you to have parent permission. I don't want you to just go attacking this without a parent around. But it's as simple as just taking a tack and pressing into the bottle, just so that you can give it some air, because an important part besides the green, the brown, and the water is that there's oxygen. It needs to have air to breathe to decompose. So you can have a parent permission and go ahead and just give it some airflow inside, okay? And that is it. So what you wanna do now is you're gonna find a safe place at your house, preferably outside, because although it shouldn't stink because you have enough brown in there, it might get a little stinky. So you want to find a place outside that's kind of free from animals. The cats aren't going to knock it over. The dogs aren't going to get into it. And also shady. We don't want it in direct sunlight. And you're just going to set it out there and you're going to watch it do its thing. Every few days, you want to go give it a stir. So this one already has holes in it, and even in the bottom. And you are going to use that spoon that we talked about earlier, and you're just going to give it a little stir. Not right away. You're going to want the decomposing to happen. But once it sits for a few days, you can go ahead and give it a stir, and you're going to mess up your lasagna, and that's totally okay. But the stirring will mix it all up, and it will also give it that much needed oxygen that it needs. If it starts to look a little dry, you can also add a little bit of water. Again, you don't want it to be muddy or really, really wet. You just want to have it a little bit moist so it can do its thing. Okay, so you know when it's ready, when it looks like dirt. When this is all broken down, it's going to take a few weeks, several weeks sometimes. But the more you stir it and the more you keep it moist, the faster that's going to happen. The plan with this compost is at the end of this garden series, we are going to use it to plant our scrap garden that we're going to start next week. So hopefully it's successful, cross our fingers, and we will make sure that we have a little garden for you guys by the end of October. Okay, I'm going to show you. So this will be a point if anybody has any questions in regards to this activity, you guys can ask now. You can type them into the comments, or you can unmute yourself and ask.
Will this be recorded for a little bit?
Yes, it's going to be recorded, and we're going to put it on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have one more thing before we say goodbye. I would love to get your pictures of you guys doing this activity. So again, I'm going to share my screen. No, yeah. So I would love for you to take a picture, have someone in your family or someone close to you take a picture of your project and send it to me. My email address is right here. It's ADMaria, my last name, at LCTHC.org. You can also find it on our YouTube channel. So if you guys have, like I said, if you have a picture, I'd love to get it and see your successes with it. Our next garden class is in 2 weeks, and we're going to be creating a scrap garden. And we're gonna start with a potato. So all you really need is a jar of some sort, water, and a potato. If you want, you can also have romaine lettuce or celery or an avocado seed, and I will show you how to use that in your kitchen scrap garden as well. Okay, so thank you very much for your patience. We will work on the lighting next week for sure. Thank you guys for being my first garden class, and we'll see you later. Have a great weekend.
Do you have